G'day guys, Dan here from Epic Drives Western Australia. Well, last weekend I was down on the beach in Wilbinga having a wheel with my brother Matt, and I'll link that up the top there. This week we're out in the Darling Ranges, and there's a track that I've sort of looked at a few times. There's a few tracks actually, and what I want to do today is try and piece them all together to make a bit of a four-wheel drive circuit. And if I can get through, I'll make all the trip notes with the GPS locations and that sort of thing, so you can give it a crack if you want. The only problem with today is it's only me. Well, I've got these guys. Say hello, boys. Hi. So I'm not going to be taking any sort of risks when it comes to the track. So if it does get a little bit hairy, I'm just going to stop, and I'll come back when I've got someone else with me, just because I have done a trip before where it was just me and I did get stuck. And one of the important rules of four-wheel driving for safety is don't go alone. But we're in the Darling Ranges. We're fairly close to sort of Mundaring, so if we do get stuck, we're not going to at any point be too far away from civilization. So anyway, let's get stuck into it. This area was previously known as the Mundaring National Park, but it was renamed to recognise the Beelu or river people who once lived here. These people lived in an area generally bounded by the Helena, Swan and Canning rivers, and had their winter camps in the Mundaring and Kalamunda hills. I literally, I don't know, K and a half in, come across this nice quarry. Not a bad spot for lunch. We left really late, so although we've only just started the track, had a little bit of lunch before the barbecue, and hopefully we'll be having hot dogs for lunch. We just pulled off the main track, tiny bit of a right hand turn. I'll note it in the trip coordinates. Not the world's most amazing place, but there's a little stream, so we're going to go check it out. Not a bad spot perhaps as a first stop if you wanted to, I don't know, make a cup of tea, have lunch, something like that. We met this bloke called John. I mentioned to him that we were trying to work out a track through, and he's fairly new to four-wheel driving, so he's keen to follow us. So he's in front at the moment, which is really good news because if either of us get in trouble, there's someone there to help us out. So we'll give it a crack, and yeah, it's great when you meet people out on the track like that. That's what it's all about. We attempted a track that looked a little bit dodgy at the beginning, and then seemed to sort of become a little bit easier. And we've decided to not do it, simply because, well, John's car's pretty new, and you know, it's like that with four-wheel driving. If you're unsure, it's a much safer bet to just turn around, because you don't want to end up getting damage and then thinking, well, I told myself so, which I've done. Fortunately, it's not been expensive, but I've got myself stuck when I knew, you know, in the back of my mind, I shouldn't be attempting this. So I'll come back and I'll try it again. I want to know where this track goes. I don't know why, but I'm going to get out of here. I'll film the rest of us getting back out. The track's, it's okay, but it's a little bit tight. There's a fair few rocks. My turn. It's not the world's most technical sort of bit, but it's fairly narrow, so you've got a log on one side and a rock on the other, which are just, you know, happen to be placed so damn close to each other, and it's in a sort of off camber bit, so we'll give it a go. If you know this area at all, there's a place called North Ledge. A number of times I've just always wondered what was down the track that went straight ahead rather than taking the left-hand turn down to North Ledge. And I've discovered it. And like I said before, I really want to know where this goes. It must go somewhere. There's a track, so anyway, another time. We've got to get out of here first. Oh, and I should say, John has only just bought his Rodeo.
Yeah, that corner's all good.
So he's doing a damn good job. He's not done four-wheel driving before. Impressive. Bit of a hill climb. I'll try it in low first. See how we go. No worries, just a few bumpy sections there. We're venturing now into unknown territory, for me anyway. It's obviously an established four-wheel drive track we're on, so plenty of people have been down here, but for me it's my first time. I've reached a campsite that, on trip note, nice spot, good for having lunch or something like that. Or just getting out and having a chat and having a coffee or a beer or whatever. So we're heading further east. I'm sure the track doesn't head east for very long. In fact, we've got a slight turn here. But I'm hoping that this track either ends up back at Mundaring Weir Road, or it ends up back on the main track, whatever road that's called. I'll put a note down at the bottom of the video of what that road's called, and hopefully it's not too tricky, because if I can get through this bit easily, I'll have pieced together 99.9% of the track and driven 99.9% of the track, and then I need that tiny section and I know it can be driven, and then I'll give you all the trip notes. There's nothing extreme, it's just I mean, I'm fairly confident with my vehicle. I know its sort of length and size. I'm not saying that it's the most modded up weapon, but I'm fairly confident driving it, and I was a little bit iffy by myself, didn't want to do it myself, and I've met John, first time I met him today, top bloke, and he's got a brand new four-wheel drive, so I completely understand. You're not 100% on the size and the capabilities of your four-wheel drive, you're hardly going to go and attempt something that you're not too sure on. And I wasn't too sure, and it's only by thinking of it for a few weeks that I've got my courage up to do it. But it's not extreme, it's just narrow, rocky, and there's the potential, obviously, when you've got rocks, for panel damage. Made it back to Mundaring Weir Road, so we're going to head home now, and I'll come back and we'll finish this track, because I'm determined. Say goodbye, boys.
Bye!
Say see you next time.
See you next time!
Jeez.